We're going to delve deeper now into different strategies of summary form, or what we can also call abbreviated form. I'm isolating them as a topic, but these can all be thought of as part of that diverse straight line toolkit that hopefully becomes another part of your coordinated hand-eye process. Blocking in volumes is what it sounds like to describe the essential structure in terms of the volumetric cube that the subject fits within, rather than with a flat shape that describes its outer boundaries. Here I begin by developing, piece by piece, the description of the geometric block that this stack of fast food containers would fit within. A project of continued kind of measure and study and comparison of one part to another, trying to determine what the different outer boundaries and landmarks are within that structure. And then as things move through there, begin to break it into parts and pick out where the twisting middle section stretches beyond that boundary. In the second drawing of this video, I'll also show you blocking in with value. So there's three different kinds of summary form, by way of shape, volume, and value. Three kind of different ways of seeing. How do you choose where they are applied? Once again, you have competing faculties. You can determine by way of visual analysis or by what I'll call visual expression. In visual analysis, you're trying to discern the nature of the form. Here I summarize the geometric volume first because it is close to the character of the subject. It appears a primary aspect of what I'm seeing here. Visual analysis is an important element of our investigative responsive process, but the idea of visual expression is an equally important component, whereby you might use that volumetric summary form as a structure you want to impose on your subject. Maybe you want to draw a human head with the weight of that geometric box, and you derive it from that cube at the summary stage. You make a proposition about the form at that summary stage. Like the inception in a dream, it guides your drawing from some depth even as you move into new creative problems and start to set different ideas inside of ideas, like the shapes inside of shapes of the design. This visual expression and visual analysis of the nature of form, of what you observe, what you activate and animate the drawing with. So as we go deeper into the drawing that you're looking at, think about what's implied or what's suggested by the move of beginning with that cubic space, beginning with that geometric solid, and the perspective that it implies. Is there a certain kind of stability, in a sense, by beginning the drawing with those parts of it that were aligned and then twisting the center container? Again, these are kind of ways of thinking about how the place that you begin in the drawing can be a premise that you use to inspire how things continue through the work. In this drawing, I'll also maybe just sort of point out the way in which some other kinds of abbreviation go on. You'll see at the top right, there's a little mark at the top of the container that corresponds to the toy car in the setup. It's just a sort of single vertical line that has some alignment with the section that sticks out from below it. This you would call a notation. Notation is the idea of some kind of just mark or dash or flick of the pencil that is meant to sort of be a placeholder. It's something that when you don't want to completely develop some element, you can make a notation as like a point of measure, point of reference, that something happens there that's important and maybe that's going to arise in the drawing later, or that is a fulcrum for other points. These videos are sped up to about I think they're 4 seconds per second. They're four times speed. So I think that the total drawings are roughly an hour apiece. As you sort of think about how the work corresponds to the source, you guys are also not just selecting your position and angle of view and design plan from your position in class. You're setting up work to do at home as homework, to continue where you have more creative freedom. In these videos, I'm working from junk that's sitting around the studio. Often not specialized art objects, and they need not be. Again, when you're thinking about form, there's all kinds of exciting form all around you. So it's important to be selective about the kind of visual event that happens. Again, not thinking about what is it, but what happens. What does it look like? This is why also as you have gone through these videos, you'll notice that there's some special lighting happening in these long before we started to address value shift in the work, because light reveals form. And so a lot of the time, just getting things lit in a way, the practical idea of getting things lit in a way where form is revealed, where you can understand form better, is really crucial. This next video, I just want to sort of tell you what you're going to see, and then let you kind of look closely. Watching this second video, how the chair is first summarized as linear volume for about 10 minutes. Then after a time lapse of 10 or 15 minutes, the drawing is treated with blocking in of value. That means the summary emphasizes big shapes of hatching value in this case, emphasizing the light and shadow contrast. I started the drawing one way, but then decided the more interesting shapes and movements were the unusual ones made by shadows, for the way they joined parts of the objects to the walls and wove together a more complex network of positive and negative shapes. It gets specific a bit faster than I meant to in this drawing, but just look how freely big shapes that combine positive and negative space are initially laid in.